Hi, my name's Nate Jones. I'm gonna tell you the top 10 money mistakes. I see people make these all the time. If you wanna be wealthy, you need to avoid these things. First thing you need to avoid is buying liabilities. What's a liability? A liability is something that you purchase that goes down in value and does not produce income for you. Prime example, a super expensive car. A super expensive car, when you could probably buy a Honda Accord, you buy a Mercedes. And let's say you don't have your money together. If you got all your money together, yeah, go splurge, buy whatever car you want. But as you're building wealth, you don't need to be overspending on a nicer car. You don't need to be buying luxury handbags, fancy watches, and a bunch of items that are just gonna depreciate. Try to save your money and get more value out of buying clothes on sale. You know, stop blowing money on liabilities. Rich people don't do that. They spend money on things that go up in value. Stop buying liabilities. Number two, people do not track their money. This is a big mistake. They don't track their money. What you need to do, it doesn't matter if you're working at McDonald's or if you're working at Goldman Sachs. What you need to do is you need to have a cash flow statement for your month. This is easy. You pull your bank statement, pull a bank statement off your bank profile or whatever you have, and look at your income and look at your expenses and what's left over. And you need to have every month, you need to be cash flowing your paycheck. That means you need to have more income coming in than you have going out. So you need to be tracking that all the time. And once you do that, you need to be looking at your expenses. What did you overspend on? What are some things that you could have cut out? And you need to be doing this. You don't need to be super strict about it, but at the beginning, if you're trying to really build wealth, you're trying to build that cash flow up, you need to be looking at those expenses and really asking yourself, hey, am I buying liabilities or am I buying stuff that I absolutely need, not want? So track your money. Number three, people make the mistake of not having an emergency fund. What is an emergency fund? Emergency fund is 3 to 6 months of money saved up because life happens. You lose your job. You have to fix something on your car that isn't under warranty. Something happens in your family that you have to take care of. Maybe a family member dies and they don't have money for the funeral. You got to pay for the funeral or something. I don't know. Crazy things happen in your life that you need to have money saved up to weather those storms. So having an emergency fund allows you to not go into debt because one thing happened to you. You say, okay, I planned for this. Here you go. Doesn't knock your whole life off track because you have that money saved up. So save up about 3 to 6 months that you could go without income for 3 to 6 months. Another mistake people make is not investing your cash flow. Like I just said on number two, you need to be tracking your cash flow. So if you've saved $1,000 or $500 or $5,000 that month, you need to be looking at what are ways in which I can invest that. Invest that in stock markets, money markets, real estate. There's so many different ways, and you can put that money into something that over time it's going to go up in value because inflation is about 5 to 7%. And so every year that money that's just sitting there is going down in value. You need to be investing that cash flow in things that appreciate. Another mistake people make is not increasing your income. And what that means is, hey, not asking for a raise, not putting your resume together every 2 to 3 years and seeing what you can get out in the job market, not making yourself attractive in the workplace, showing up, doing what you're doing, going above and beyond, raising that income. If you can't do that in the kind of the place you're at, maybe you need to look at getting a side hustle, but you need to look at ways of increasing your income. Because at some point, expenses can only be decreased really to the minimum it can, like whatever your worst apartment is or whatever you're living off of, you can only decrease that so much to zero, but your income, you can go up exponentially. So you need to find ways to increase your income, and that'll help out your financial situation, helps out your cash flow, and it allows you to make those investments moving forward. Another mistake that I see people make is they waste money on the weekends. There's nothing wrong with having a little bit of fun, but you can't go overboard. You don't want to go out every Friday and Saturday night and be blowing so much money on alcohol and just blowing all your money with your friends. You want to really focus on, hey, I can have some fun, but I'm not going to derail my entire budget or my entire cash flow on just blowing it on the weekends. The weekends are for people that are broke, okay? You want to be looking at ways in which you can increase your money on the weekends, not blowing it and destroying your health. Number 7 here kind of goes around with the weekend. The mistake I see is that people spend time with broke people. If you spend time with people who don't understand how to use money and they blow money and all they talk about is spending money, eventually you'll become like them. You become who your friends are. So if you're around people who are not respectful with money, they're not smart with it, you will eventually not respect it and not be smart with it. So make sure you're hanging around people that are actually going somewhere and have a plan with the money that they have. Because it's going to be very important that you're around people that are bringing you up, not people that are bringing you down. Number 8 here, big mistake that I see people do is they loan money to their family. You are not a bank. You are not a financial institution. And I understand a family member may come to you once you start saving up money, once you get your life right, they're going to say, hey, can I borrow a little bit of money? I need this, I need that. And you're never going to get it back. Very few family members will ever pay you back that money. You're throwing money down the drain. You are not set up as a bank. Let them go to the bank and go get their loan. Okay? If people are not very good with money, the last thing you need to give them is money. Give them something. If you want to help a family member out, they don't have money for food, don't give them money, give them food. That's my advice for you. Number 9, biggest money mistake that I see some people do is they try to impress people with their money. Let me tell you real quick, nobody cares what you have, what you look like, what house you're in. Nobody really cares. If anything, they're jealous of you. And jealousy has no rule in your life. So, nobody cares. Stop trying to impress people. Impressing people is an endless game. I remember I was flying private with a company that I was working for, and the guy who owned the plane, we flew into one airport. He had the biggest plane. He had a jet. He had the biggest plane. We flew into the next airport. He had the smallest jet. It was a bigger airport. And he said, you can't get in the rat race of buying bigger planes because somebody will always have a bigger plane than you, and you'll eventually lose all your money. Someone's always going to have something nicer than you. Don't get in the rat race of that. Focus on what you're investing in and improving yourself. Don't compare yourself to somebody else because you have no idea what's actually in their bank account. Number 10, the last one here, the biggest mistake that I see is not investing in yourself. Now, if you do 1 through 9, you got your life together, you got the emergency fund, you got investments, it's okay to take a chance. It's okay to take a risk on yourself. And what I mean is if you see a business you need to start or you see something that you want to go buy. There's this guy I knew, he had an epoxy flooring business that was doing $5 to $6 million a year. And it started because he took a seminar for like $5,000 on how to learn how to put in epoxy flooring. And then he built his business to that amount. So that return on investment for him was huge. So don't be afraid to make an investment to increase your earnings. But when you invest in yourself, you got to look at it in a way of how is this going to increase my earning potential? Your investment needs to increase your earning potential. So reading books, if you can get something out of a seminar, but watch seminars because there's a lot of people that are selling things that don't actually increase your income. But investing in yourself is saying, hey, if I have an extra 20 to 30,000 sitting around and I want to start a business in something, I have this plan, I've thought it through, don't be afraid to take that risk because sometimes that investment may feel like it's a lot, but the earning potential of that investment is huge. So those are the top 10 money mistakes. Don't fall into these pitfalls because most people do it. And if you want things that most people don't have, you can't do the things that everybody does. Like and subscribe and comment below. Thanks.